8 limbs of yoga. Yoga practice would be ineffectual without the concepts on which yoga is based. It combines the bodily and the spiritual in an extraordinarily complete way. In the East, where these ideas and practices have developed, and where for several thousands of years an unbroken tradition has created the necessary spiritual foundations, yoga is, as I can readily believe, the perfect and appropriate method for fusing body and mind together so that they form a unity which is scarcely to be questioned. This unity creates a psychological disposition which makes possible intuitions that transcend consciousness. From Carl Jung, a Swiss psychologist. The word yoga literally means to yoke or to join or unite. What are we yoking? Individually, we are yoking the different aspects of our being together, the physical, mental, emotional, energetic, and spiritual. Or you can say we are yoking our human selves with our God selves. As a collective, we are uniting in our consciousness. Yoga is a systematic, integrative approach to wholeness and wellness. When we are united within ourselves, we find unity in the external world. According to Patanjali, the great sage who wrote the famous Yoga Sutras of Patanjali, 196 Indian sutras from 400 CE that constitute the foundational text of Ashtanga Yoga, also called Raja Yoga, there are 8 limbs in yoga that if one follows with devotion and perseverance will reach enlightenment. In the Yoga Sutras, there is only mention of asana or poses 3 times, and it is the seated easy pose for meditation. The 8 limbs of yoga: 1. Yama, universal morality. 2. Niyama, personal observances. 3. Asana, body postures. 4. Pranayama, breathing exercise and control of prana. 5. Pratyahara, control of the senses. 6. Dharana, concentration and cultivating inner perceptual awareness. 7. Dhyana, devotion, meditation on the divine. 8. Samadhi, union with the divine. When I started Ashtanga Yoga, which is what I studied in India, I knew in the back of my mind that no matter how challenging putting 2 feet behind my head and balancing on my hands would be, changing my mind and thoughts were going to be a million times tougher. That was the thought I had when it came to any physical challenge, and that is what helped transform my body and my yoga practice. The Yamas and Niyamas. The first 2 limbs that Patanjali describes, called the Yamas and the Niyamas, can also be looked at as universal morality and personal observances. They are the suggestions given on how we should deal with people around us and our attitude toward ourselves. The attitude we have toward things and people outside ourselves is Yama. How we relate to ourselves inwardly is Niyama. Both are concerned with how we use our energy in relationship to others and to ourselves. Notice they come before the asana or postures. They are as follows. The yamas, how we relate to the external world. 1. Ahimsa, non-violence, inflicting no injury or harm to others or to one's own self. Non-violence in thought, word, and deed. Deeper meaning, the rishis in their wisdom define love as ahimsa. 2. Satya, non-illusion, truth in thoughts, word, and actions. Deeper meaning, we know who we are truth itself. We connect to true self versus the little self-image. 3. Asteya, non-covetousness, to the extent that one should not even desire something that is one's own, non-stealing. Deeper meaning, we need nothing outside of ourselves to feel complete. 4. Brahmacharya, abstinence or moderation, particularly in the case of sexual activity. Deeper meaning, we use our sexual energy to regenerate our connection to our spiritual self. It also means that we don't use this energy in any way that might harm others. 5. Aparigraha, non-possessiveness, non-hoarding. Deeper meaning, letting go of our fear-based attachments, including people, having less differences. The niyamas are how we relate to ourselves in our inner world. 1. Saucha, purity of body through proper diet, cleanliness, and exercise, and purity of mind through positive thinking, good company, prayer, and meditation. 2. Santosha, satisfaction, satisfied with what one has, contentment with everything as is, good and bad. Deeper meaning, living in the present, here and now. Ability to tolerate and find an equanimous mindset within the world of duality. 3. Tapas, self-discipline, spiritual heat or fire that burns away the self-image and ego and allows us to live from our higher self and not from our emotional reactions. 4. Swadhyaya, self-study and study of spiritual scriptures, which leads to introspection on a greater awakening to the soul and God within, while doing everyday activities turning in to be the observer or witness. And 5. Ishvara Pranidhana, selfless service, dedicating all of one's efforts to God or to the greatest good of all. Surrender to God, love, truth, and faith must arise in one's heart in order to live in complete freedom, unaffected by uncertainty and the unknown. A wonderful book on yoga that explains the Yamas and Niyamas in further depth on a practical level is The Yoga of Relationships, a practical guide for loving yourself and others by Yogi Amrit Desai. One of his quotes on love: addictive love is transactional. Unconditional love is transformational. When love exists, communication of the highest order flows spontaneously, flowing from heart to heart rather than from head to head. Communication then becomes communion. Yoga is the rocket ship to enlightenment, Moksha Priya. Yoga, through which divinity is found within, is doubtless the highest road, Paramahansa Yogananda. There are many paths to healing and wholeness. Yoga was my prescription. It was the combination of the physical and the spiritual that was so effective and transformative. Yoga is not about flexibility. Well, actually it is, flexibility of the mind. Closed, rigid mind equals a closed, rigid body. Yoga practice, metaphorically speaking, is like a clogged pipe. There are 2 ways to unclog a pipe. One is to bang on it from the outside, and the other way is to go in and pull the muck out. The asana or body postures and the pranayama breathing exercises is the outside way of unclogging our pipes. Meditation, changing our thoughts and beliefs and waking up to who we truly are by integrating the niyamas and yamas, is the inside way of unclogging our pipes. Doing both together is the most effective. No matter how many classes or workshops we attend, how many downward dogs and chaturangas we do, they are not a substitute for the real work. They might help us to uncover parts of ourselves that are imbalanced, but the real work is discovering for ourselves who we really are. It is not enough to have someone explain it or lay it out to us. Daily practice and processing, investigation into our true selves, meditation, self-reflection, and the most important, experience are the keys. My interpretation of yoga is that it's a way back from your head and your thinking to your heart and your soul. Yoga provides the map. First is understanding the knowledge. The next is applying it to your life. Without integration, there is no change. The ultimate goal of yoga is liberation or freedom, moksha. Foremost, reconciliation with yourself, then reconciliation with everyone and everything else. Only then comes true peace and lasting freedom. But what original commentary can you supply from the uniqueness of your particular life? What holy texts have you absorbed and made your own? In what ways have these timeless truths renovated your nature? Are you content to be a hollow Victrola, mechanically repeating the words of other men? Autobiography of a Yogi. And from the Untethered Soul by Michael Singer. Yoga is not really about getting your body healthy, although it does that too. Yoga is about the knowledge that will help you out of your predicament, the knowledge that can free you. Once you've made this freedom the meaning of your life, there are spiritual practices that can help you. These practices are what you do with your time in order to free yourself from yourself. You will eventually catch on that you will have to distance yourself from your psyche. You do this by setting the direction of your life when you are clear and not let the wavering mind deter you. Your will is stronger than the habit of listening to that voice. There is nothing you can't do. Your will is supreme over all of this. If you want to free yourself, you must first become conscious enough to understand your predicament. Then you must commit yourself to the inner work of freedom. You do this as though your life depended on it, because it does. As it is right now, your life is not your own. It belongs to your inner roommate, the psyche. Experiment. Okay, right now, if you have time and you're in a quiet space and alone, close your eyes and mentally say hello. Say it a few times, even yell it. But say it quietly within your own mind. Start to notice who is saying hello and who is observing. You are the observer or the witness behind the word hello. You are not the thought, the sound or vibration, or the word hello. As soon as you can notice the difference between the awareness of you as the observer and the thought you are having, you are one step closer to freedom. Even if you didn't notice right away, keep at it. This is your ticket out of the madness. So go into a meditative state, close your eyes, and say hello to yourself over and over again until you can separate yourself from the actual word hello, and notice that you are just observing yourself saying hello, but you're observing yourself from a higher perspective, from your God self, from your higher self. You are the observer or the witness. You are not your thought. You are the eternal witness, the conscious observer, the clear blue sky, timeless beauty, everlasting peace, infinite presence, radiant remembrance, enduring love, God's shining light.